So I got a little curious this morning. I've been running around filling out applications. I had to shoot out to fucking Montrose this morning. Check out a place. It wound up being too far out on bad roads. I'm not gonna try to drive out there in the middle of the winter. 6 o'clock in the morning, or 6, 7 o'clock what was it? Yeah, 6 o'clock in the morning to get there at 7 o'clock in the morning out on those Pennsylvania roads in the winter like that. It's hard on the vehicle, hard on gas and things like that. At about an hour trip or something like that, you're gonna lose about $2 worth of pay an hour across the day. That's gonna be like $20 worth of gas a day for you to trip out into something like that. So you got to make that difference back up, and that was a stone place. So nope, I won't be doing that. But I did want to check out into some things here, from yesterday, because like I said, I reported called into the Better Business Bureau. It was just weird the way they did it. I had an interview, they called me, but then they weren't going to tell me I was, as far as I know, I probably didn't give enough time. But anyways, I wanted to check this out, and I'm like, all right, do recruiters get a cut of your salary? I was like, how did they get paid? What is the system? And after doing a bit of a sleuthing here, recruiters do not get a cut of your salary. Kinda, they do. That's not like they're just getting a straight up piece of your salary out of it a year. Most people aren't going to pay more than $15, $16, $17 an hour, and maybe you're real lucky to catch an 18, and that's probably because you're traveling for gas and stuff like that. The staffing agency places you at, however, does not compensate the recruiter based on your percentages of your first year salary if the employer or the recruiter agency have a contingency agent in place. But here's the bit of it. As per the agreement the recruiter has with their client, they will get paid 20% of your candidacy first year salary. So 20% as average. This is going to be the whole $70K. Yeah, right. I'll be lucky to make a little bit more than this. Be like 20, maybe 22, 23. So out of that, 20% of that's, I don't know, $1,000, something like that, $1,000. So the game is to get a bunch of them. Try to get 2 or 3 candidates a year or a month, something like that, because that'll base you out about the same. For a year's pay is about $15 an hour. But I want you to understand when you go through something like that, why, if a company's dealing with that to send you a recruit, right? Here's this thing, they don't even check your resumes and stuff like that. Here I come in with the bookworks over to one of them. They talk to me over the phone. I've been in line with a couple of them. One of them had a concrete site up in Binghamton for, what was it, $17 an hour maybe. And in terms of what it is, they don't bother checking your careers or trying to get you the best deal on it. And probably most of them can't get a place anyways because they're just, it's just whatever's handy in terms of the job, and they'll try to take the roster list of whoever they got and try to do the best position on that. But it was real short order for me. But inside of here, you have to think about that. So the company would have to talk to the job recruiter, and they'll say that they'll give you a percentage of that job. So what incentive do you have to get a raise in the first year when a recruiter is going to be taking what would be yours? I know it doesn't seem like it's a cut of yours. It's just the money that's not in a pile that's devoted to you. But that's 20% of your pay that you're not going to get that year because somebody else is on that, at least that first year, going to take that right out of your pocket. Now, with that said, that's going to be, roughly $1,000. Let's consider, it's going to be roughly $2 extra a year, right? Or $2 extra in your paycheck, roughly about $100 a week at that low end, 14 or 15 to $17 an hour, something like that. Somewhere's in that magic window in there. That's a $2 raise that you're definitely not going to get in the first year. Definitely not going to get it because they're already paying it out on it, and they're already paying you about the top end because whatever they pay you, you can add $2 to on top of your pay, and you'll be lucky to get a dollar raise at the back end of that next year, maybe. So that's going to cut into your percentages on those things. So it's something to consider while you're dealing with why you go through recruiters. Why not just put an ad in the paper? Right? You don't want to go through candidates. You don't want to save applications. You don't want to have to go through those kinds of things. You got secretaries for a reason. I mean, you'll smoke a dude and ask them to do 10 times what they're supposed to do, pick up extra skills and shit like that. That's what you got secretaries for. They got to work too. We all got to work. And inside here, why wouldn't you just have the secretaries that you have do something like that? Well, hire a fucking secretary. That'd be the first thing I tell you. Inside of these places that, when you're going through, most of them have them already, but they don't want to initiate. Well, it's like, well, if you sign on for a shit shoveler, that's what you get. But a sawyer on another end of a thing, so what's the difference when you give somebody a job detail that correlates them to do that material? Shit, you go through everything on Indeed.com, and you're lucky to break that $15 glass ceiling. Doesn't matter. Construction, well, you'd be lucky to get 15, but construction, there's not really a gap differential between those things regardless of the skill. Now, I'm sure being a dish worker is super valuable, when it comes to the high-end skills of driving around the company's equipment and working some piece of terminal that they give you. You're an Amazon driver, they'll pay you $19 an hour, $19 an hour. But, I mean, I got to be honest with you, as a stone sawyer, trainer, and things like that that's never broke the glass ceiling on that kind of stuff, what the fuck is that about? You got to have some kind of difference between these skill differentials. Otherwise, what's the point of being a master mason? What's the point of being a skilled trainee or a technician or something along those lines? To me, I'm the kind of guy that'll work a saw and I'll work torches, and, there's never been a difference in pay to me. You get up to a certain point in the skill sets and it's like, well, thermaling's definitely easier than working a saw. That's not true. You can't get, once you get past being able to handle more than 4 steps in an operation and a memorization of those steps, it's all downhill from there. So you get into the saw programs of it and stuff like that, or what programs it takes in the daily operations to burn rock. It's like, well, that's monotonous and things like that. The saws are absolutely just as monotonous. You're out there running bunks, operating equipment. You'll be operating a lot of times when you're a thermaler and stuff like that. You got to have differences between those sections. If there's not differences between those things, what are you doing to encourage that stuff that a person can come into work for it? I'll get them on top of here reading in the Indeed files, bonuses for everything. And it's a regional thing, I want to be honest with you. It's like, there's no reason to provide a bonus for anybody around here in these stone mills. They'll just take you on and do it. People need work, and that's the highest turnover rate, and they'll just throw you in there like that. So I want to be clear about, what are you doing to encourage the incentive for these people to work for you? If there's, if you're going to lose that on a recruiting site and do it, it's like, well, I went on Indeed.com to go get a place up in, I had to go to Binghamton to come back to Deposit to get a maintenance job where they'll drug test you, right? They'll do a full internet scan on you for everything on Facebook and YouTube and deny you even an interview because they saw something politically that they didn't like, or some minor infraction that they didn't like, or something of those standards. And you can't do anything about it because these recruiters are acting as middleman for you to not actually deal with ever having an interview or having them to deal with you. And then they go through the information anyways, but you don't ever get to talk to those employers. That's pretty shitty. So there's a few reasons why I'm big against going through recruiters as that standpoint on it, and a lot of big businesses only use recruiters. And you won't be able to get a job through those systems. And let alone, they never pay you $70K. I would love to see the station where that is. Why would a big business that can actually afford to do that not put an ad in the paper, not just use Indeed.com or Monster.com or something along those lines, for them to just sit through? And the job they do is pretty shitty. I mean, honestly, it is. They act as a middleman. Just give me the number of the company. I'll talk to them for you. Why do you need to do all this basic research on it? Yeah, because you're used to dealing with shitty employees. And why do you think you'll ever get over this number? Especially, hopefully, if I quantify myself as a skilled laborer inside here, or a skilled operator or something of that nature. You know, why would I be okay with you catching up to 20% of my salary of that first year? You know, 22, something like that. Basically about $1,000, or $2,000, something like that, for what the system is. Let me see if we do the math real quick. Let's say you make 25K a year divided by times 0.20. That's $5,000 right there. You know, and if you get 2 of them a month, you know, that's $10,000 you made that month. You know, if you get 4 candidates that year, you've made more than I make as a fucking laborer for filling out applications all day. I fill out applications all the time. I don't know how many I've filled out this year. And you don't even fill them out. You know what I mean? You make them do all the work so you can file a bunch of paperwork. It is nonsense. It is absolutely ridiculous why somebody would use a recruiter station like that. And again, just pay your guy better. Just take care of him on the first year a little bit better, and respect your guy. Deal with the husbandry of that situation, and don't even bother putting up with recruiter stations. I think that they're absolutely worthless. I think most of them don't get you that system. I mean, make a video resume. Make a video resume for these guys. Help them out with the resume. Know the kind of skills. If those recruiter stations don't actually have the job criteria that the jobs are looking for, give me the terminal system. Have the recruiter do the safety standards, or not the safety standards, but the prep training on some of these stations that's necessary to kind of base the test on, instead of just whatever bullshit is inside here. It's like I remember trying to go through the dollar store and trying to get a job. They'll make you do a fucking half an hour quiz on something where it's minimum wage, or just a little over minimum wage, for something where the turnover rates are absolutely stupid, and everybody's going to try to get out the first chance they get. And hell, I've signed on to stone mills, heavy duty equipment and stuff like that. They don't drug test you. They don't bother with any of that questionnaire stuff, right? Yeah, because they're hard bars over there. You know, they can go ahead and train people. Apparently, they're not worried about your sociopath or psychopathy inside of here, because we're all fucking psychopaths in terms of what it is. You wouldn't do that kind of work unless you were a little crazy. You know, and again, it's just very shady what recruiting agencies do. I really, just cut that extra $5,000 to a guy, and you wouldn't have to worry about him turning over so much. That's the kind of raises they need, especially in the first year. You know, most of them aren't going to be stable as an average on the whole. Just cut that shit. You have Indeed.com, maybe. That would be the one that's worth it. For a recruiter to then throw it on Indeed.com? Well, I mean, come on.